Rates moving on up. This is the Mortgage Banking live stream. Welcome, this is the Mortgage Banking live stream. Today is December 15th, 2022. I'm Troy at Garris Horn, and we talk about business, we talk about politics, we talk about regulation, and we have a number of different items to bring to you today. Like this video, share this video with your friends, subscribe, and you'll get notices about new postings. If you have any questions, contact me. My contact information is in the box below. Couple shouts out as we get started. I just got back from California MBA. It was in Newport Beach. It was a good conference. It was the Legal Issues Regulatory Regulatory Compliance Conference from the California MBA. Say that quickly 5 times, see what happens. It was a good conference. There were a lot of smart people out there that were talking about issues of the day. And, you know, it was somber in some ways. Everybody was happy to be together. These are people that know each other well. We're all good friends, and we gain a lot of value in the sharing of information with each other, information, sort of intel about what's going on in our various areas. And, you know, lawyers and compliance people, they start off a lot of times from a sort of skeptical or negative perspective. At least that's the way a lot of people look at it. And this was a time when people are struggling to get by and figure out ways to get through this very difficult marketplace. So it was good to see everybody, and on balance, I think the tone was good and optimistic, but there was this undercurrent of everybody knows there's a lot of flack at the moment. MBA, the National MBA, the IMB conference is coming up January 23rd through 26th. This is going to be down in California, also Coronado. What better time, right, to be in California, Southern California, either in December or in January for these two different conferences. Although I tell you, when I left Texas, it was 45 degrees, it was rainy, it was overcast, the weather was just lousy. When I arrived in Newport Beach, I was expecting some great weather. As it turns out, it was about 45. It was rainy. It was overcast. It was sort of miserable weather. I was wondering, did I even leave? Nevertheless, the weather did get a little better yesterday, and it was quite nice as I was departing. Texas MBA Southern Secondary Warehouse Conference, Warehouse Conclave rather, and the Texas Women's Mortgage Bankers meeting will be February 6th and 7th. This will be down in Houston. Make sure you're there at each of these upcoming conferences. Great people, great intel, and you won't want to miss them. As I've said before, we're hiring, so if you are out there and you're not with a client and you are knowledgeable about our space, we are always looking for good people. Give me a buzz. This is that Garris Horn that I'm talking about. Let's talk business for a moment. It's a turbulent market, right? Everybody knows that. And the Fed just yesterday raised rates yet again, 0.5%. That was expected, but what wasn't expected is Chair Powell mentioned that they expect rates to continue to go up to 5.1% by the end of the year of 23. They also expect pretty paltry growth of just 0.5% in 23, and that was prompting part of the decision making there. They also expect unemployment to jump to 4.6% in 23. That's compared with a pretty low 3.7% right now. It's still relatively low. It's still considered generally full employment historically, but nevertheless, they do expect unemployment to increase, which will make it a little easier for employers who are looking for talent. In our space right now, of course, there are a lot of people that have been riffed in recent months, and that was part of the conversation out in California MBA, in fact. And I mentioned while we're out there, I'm always happy to connect people. So if you're out there and you are looking for a position because especially if in light of recent rifts and the like, I'm happy to connect you with people that are looking for people of your particular roles. And I don't get paid for that stuff. I just do it as a courtesy. I have a lot of friends in this industry, and if you're looking, don't hesitate to give me a buzz, shoot me a text or email, and we can try to, or even call me. We can try to connect you with some people. Powell also said that they expect to lower to 4.1% the growth in 2024, late 2024, lower the rates back to 4.1. But that number is pretty far out there. So anything can happen. The September report was quite different. So there's not. It's a turbulent market for everybody, and economists certainly cannot predict what is coming down the road, despite their best efforts, despite all of the information that the Fed has at its disposal. Flip now for a moment to some positive news. Mortgage apps are up 3.2%. This is a composite index. So up 3.2%, that's pretty healthy. Now, the trend has been lower recently, and of course, overall, it is lower year over year, but up from the previous week, 3.2%. That is good news. NAR, so National Association of Realtors, recently listed its top housing markets. Take a listen to this for a second. I'll run through a few of these. Some of the top markets for housing in the nation: Atlanta, I think a lot of people would expect that. Raleigh, North Carolina, a lot of people expect that too. Dallas, Fort Worth, one of the top housing markets. It has one of the top 10 housing markets, and it has entered that list. Glad to hear it, since I'm here in the Dallas area right now. Fayetteville, Greenville, South Carolina, Fayetteville, Arkansas, I should say, in case there's any misconception there. San Antonio, New Braunfels in Texas here, Knoxville, Tennessee. So some markets that are very strong at the moment, and that's some really good news, although volume is somewhat down. There's also a prediction of home sale prices, a drop of 6.8%. That hopefully is a little bit helpful in stabilizing this housing market. And that's just at a national level, right? So everybody knows that housing prices and housing markets are very, very localized. And so what does this national number tell you? Maybe not a whole lot, but as a general trend, you can compare it to prior markets or prior time periods and years, and you can get a sense of where these numbers have gone. NAR also predicts that home prices will increase 0.3%, so just about 1/3% next year. But you compare that to the increase of 9.6% in 2022, and that that pales in comparison, really. Talk for a moment about regulation. So, coming back from the California MBA conference now, I will tell you that some of the reports were that people really are working on skeleton crews right now, and there are, companies are trying to navigate this difficult market, and to do so, they've had to cut costs. As people know, I mentioned a few minutes ago, there's been a number of reductions in force over the past several months, and so people are really trying to right size in that regard to maintain costs so that they can make it through this difficult period. Some of the other items that came about at California MBA was a focus. People were talking about, where are people focused right now? Fair lending continues to be one of the chief areas of focus. There was a lot of discussion, a couple of panels even. One of my partners, in fact, over at Garris Horn, Rich Horn, was talking about fair lending issues. A lot of other issues out there that people were focusing on is RESPA, Section 8, LO compensation, HMDA. Of course, the HMDA data will be due in a few months here, and with those skeleton crews we were talking about, there's some difficulties in trying to make sure that everybody has their data together, scrubbed and filed on time, and so people are trying to work through that with those skeleton crews. Listen, I'm not going to take a lot of your time today. I just wanted to touch base with you on those items. Thank you for all your support. We appreciate everything that you do. And like I mentioned, if somebody's out there and they're looking either for, like attorneys looking for a position with a law firm, let me know, because we are certainly looking to bring good people on board. And in addition, if you are out there in the mortgage space and you are looking for connections, let me know and I can try to connect you that way. And we will talk to you soon. This is the Mortgage Banking Live stream. I'm Troy Garris. Peace out.